Hey, Brandon here. This is channeled advice on the week ahead, and this is for Monday, August 19th through the 25th. I have channel messages that came through from my spirit guides, the angels, and source. I channeled them down. I'm going to read them to you. And I'll also be channeling my spirit guides, the angels, and source, and working with my intuition to bring through any other information that would be for your highest good in addition to all this, whether it clarifies this, brings in completely new information in addition to these. So let's get started on this for you. The first thing that came through ahead of time. So, actually, as happens quite a bit with these, they're giving me a new message to bring through first before I get to what came through ahead of time. They're showing arrows hitting targets. There was a deer that showed up for this first one, and it's kind of interrelated, though it's also different. So, one, the message is pretty much you're going to be hitting targets. Like there's targets you've been aiming for in life that you'll be hitting or making progress towards, is just a message that's coming through, or you'll at least have the opportunity to do so if you, especially if you take action as you're guided, or you'll just see the path clearly to start moving towards that. I really get in general that a lot of targets are coming in, like accomplishing things. So definitely move towards that. Um, there's also like a tank that showed up, like a military tank. So what's up with that here? So there's just a side message of like you're divinely protected as you move towards what you're supposed to be doing. So as long as you're following your divine guidance, your intuition, moving towards what you're supposed to be moving towards, taking action when you're divinely guided to take action or intuitively are called to take action, you're going to be just fine. And sometimes even if you end up moving away from something when you're following your divine guidance, you might be moving away from something right before it tanks. I guess the pun might be intended by them, but I was going to say no pun intended. Uh, so keep that in mind. Like there's a reason you're called to the things you're called to, and when you're called to them. Like there's of course, a divine guidance to that, a divine orchestration to that. So really trust the rhythm of when you're guided to move and take action and when, of course. So number one, as far as what came through, I had it, they want me to explain more. One second here. The tank also represents that you're just divinely protected in general right now. Like you don't need to worry too much. If there's stuff far off in the future that you're concerned about, like don't be like that might not be relevant to today. And that might not pertain fully to like, saving or investing for your futures. Like, yeah, still maybe sit with that and do that. But you also don't need to be like in the grip of freak out about 30 years from now if it's not relevant to your today fully. So I would potentially try to stay present if you will, if you would, around this time period and know you're okay. For the vast majority of you tuning into this, like, yeah. So the first thing that showed up ahead of time, sorry, we're not ready to move on yet. I'm so sorry. So additionally, there's also a blue jay showing up for this. There's also this like green bird. There's a parrot showing up here. There's also a robin. So a lot of different birds showing up. Blue jay and robin have been showing up a lot recently for uh, readings too recently, which is interesting. So let me see what's up with this here with all the birds showing up. So the next thing they're showing me is like a lot launching right now. So it could be new projects launching, new relationships launching, or you're like a few weeks out from things like that happening is something I'm getting as well, at least for a few in this crowd. Uh, but all of you to some degree in the next while, I'm hearing something like there are going to be like things launching for you, whether it's things that come in. It's like, well, going back to where they started with this message, like you're hitting a target with like something launching, or something launching is launching for you or like towards you, like the universe is launching like a potential like partner towards you, is an example, you know. So if you're someone who's already moving towards launches, definitely keep moving towards them. If you're scratching your head wondering what the heck they're talking about when they talk about launches, don't worry. That will just pertain to you in a different way, like something's launching towards you or something's going to be launching for you, like a manifestation or something like that, which is a message that came through that we'll get to here. Actually, they'd like me to skip ahead and talk about it now. It was the last thing that came through ahead of time. For some reason, I mean, dragons love to show up for these, but there was a dragon or a mystical creature that showed up. They gave me the words. Those were the words they gave me: dragon, mystical creature. And they just said, there's a manifestation coming. That's it. And so they literally had me write down, that's it. After that, that's what I heard. So there's some type of manifestation coming your way this week for all of you. Uh, for those of you who have only bigger things you are asking for right now as far as manifestation, well, it wouldn't hurt to ask for small things along the way, or medium things. It doesn't hurt to ask for multiple things at the same time at all. Uh, you might get, as part of your manifestation for right now, for those bigger things, like a clue on how to get there, or like a stepping stone along the path that starts to maneuver you towards that, for the long term, or for whenever it's going to or is meant to come in. So don't discount those little steps or maneuvers, or those things that the universe is the universe are doing, whatever the universe is doing to put things in place for the big manifestation to come in. Like, don't discount those things. Like, it's part of the process sometimes in a manifestation that's bigger coming in, because sometimes things are happening behind the scenes. Sometimes you're being shifted and brought to a place where you can receive it. Like, there can be sometimes a lot going on depending on the person, and you can keep it simple. You don't have to overcomplicate it, but know that things like that are happening. If you have a bigger manifestation that's not ready to come in yet, you'll have like stepping stones towards it or something along those lines, some ideas towards it, things like that. So, are we ready to read the first thing that came through ahead of time now? There's one more thing. They're showing a watering can and flowers here. And it's a reminder to water your garden, water yourself, nurture yourself. And it's coming through as a message this week. I was going to say something like, well, I probably could say that any week. But for some reason, it's like especially a strong message right now is something they're saying. Because some of you are looking into everyone else's garden and you're like, oh, that's so pretty. Oh, that's so pretty. You're like putting all your attention there, and you're missing out on the opportunities to water your own garden and make your life the way you'd like it to be, because you're so focused on everyone else. And it's not a bad thing to be inspired or to see something and realize something is possible because someone else has it. As long as, well, what's the best thing for me to say here? As long as you're saying something along the lines of like, what will it take for me to have that too? Or you're turning your focus back at some point to, how can I water my garden? How can I maneuver my life towards what I'd like it to be authentically? Because some of you, not all of you, some of you are missing the boat on your opportunities to make your life awesome, because you're not doing anything for your life. Like, you're not watering your metaphorical garden, by the way. You're not taking the opportunities that present themselves. Uh, you're kind of, some of you are just mad that other people have things and you don't. And I'm not trying to like call you out or be like, you're so bad, you're so wrong for it. That's not, it's more like, hey, here's a wake up call or an opportunity to turn this around and ask the universe to help you turn it around so you can make your life better and be a better example in the world. Yeah, that's what I'm hearing. So, it's definitely not meant to be like condescending or talking down to you with that message. If you're like listening to this and it's pinging for you or resonating for you, it's just meant to help you turn things around and get some awareness around the situation so you can change it. Um, so now we're ready to read number one for you guys. We're only 9.5 minutes into this, or however far we are after I edit it. So, with Dear, the message is gracefully moving forward. So, focus on grace and ease this week. What would move you towards your destination in the most ease filled way? Where can you call in grace that you haven't called in grace yet? Dear Spirit Animal is also showing up for this crowd to help you move forward with grace. And they added in not skittishly for some reason, because I know deer can be like, brr, or just like, brah, and just like sprint away, like into a road and stuff. So, it's not that. It's more, what's the best way to say this? It's always possible to ask for ease and grace. Uh, I know there are a certain amount of you who think that things have to be difficult, otherwise it's not life, and that's just not true. Is what I'm getting to say to you right now. Like, what else is possible? What ease can you create or generate or manifest? And if it's infinite possibilities, of course, you can have ease. There is a way, somehow, some way. And there might be something you're gaining from a challenge if you're temporarily in one or going through one, but that doesn't have to be your life. And it doesn't mean life is less worth living if you don't have challenges, if that makes sense. Like there are plenty of people who have ease and have a great life, and it doesn't mean their life is invalid for some reason because they're not struggling. Like that's a very silly story that you have to struggle for something to be worthwhile. If you really sit with it for a second and think about it critically, or intuit on it, even better. If you intuit on it or channel on it instead of just think about it, because then you'll be getting your actual knowing involved instead of just thinking and whatever, you know what I mean. So, anyways, coming back to this message, I'm going to reread it just to get, yeah. So focus on grace and ease this week. So how can you call that in? You can just invite it in. What would move you towards your destination in the most ease-filled way? Now that's a really interesting thing. And it might be something that's better to manifest and call in and let the universe show you what that looks like if you have no idea in your head. If you do have an idea and things are coming to you, maybe write those ideas down and really sit with them and see if they intuitively feel right to put into place. We already talked about calling things in, but it says, where can you call in grace that you haven't called in grace yet? Just see if something comes to you intuitively or something hits you, now or whenever, if something pings for you with this. I just, like we were talking about earlier, maybe I didn't specify this yet, but sometimes we just forget to ask, or we just forget that we can have this thing, and there's a way to it somehow. So please remember to ask for grace. And I think that's it. The last thing was dear spirit animal is also showing up for this crowd to help you move forward with grace. So awesome. So number 2 here, they show me an alligator. They gave me the word voracious. What do you have a hunger for? And it's not just for physical food, because I'm sure some of you are thinking about muffins or cake or something, or fruit if you're more into that. But nothing wrong if you're into any of those things. So, for example, what are you hungry for more of in life? That you being hungry for that thing could be a sign to start moving towards it. Even if it's a very physical or material thing, it could provide something really great for you and your spiritual journey, even for you to have that thing. It's doing something for you. To quote Lee Harris, like it would do something for your soul, or it's doing for doing something for you on a soul level. Though there could be more to it, even too. So don't hold something back from you just because someone would judge it as not spiritual. And I think I talked about this. No, I think my spirit guys talked about this in a couple of different things that have come out recently. I'm going to reread this line. Don't hold something back from you just because someone would judge it as not spiritual. Because it's typically not necessarily like true that something is not spiritual, or if you're truly spiritual, you'll forego money or something like that. That's usually not a truth of like the universe or source. If you actually channel and check in with source about something, or some form of physical abundance, it's usually true you can have both, or maybe even it's highly spiritual because you're incarnate and you're experiencing this life. So your soul might get something out of you having a lot of money if you're hungry for more money in your life, and or a greater level of abundance in your life, or a certain type of romance in your life. So don't neglect the sides of your life that are calling to you, that maybe you, or maybe others, have been judging as not worthy as your time and attention, or you having them because it's not this thing, or it doesn't fit into this box, or it's not spiritual, quote unquote, as an example. Um or if it's something that really calls to you and it's like not good enough according to so and so, which is all that's just stories. It's a better question might be like, what would be best for you? What is your soul asking for? What lights you up? Which is another thing that came through ahead of time. So, what do you have a hunger for? What are you hungry for more of in your life? That could be a sign to start moving towards it. So, number 3, they show me a truck. They also show me a crane and heavy equipment. They also gave me the word truckin'. So, here's the thing. The universe is moving heavy obstacles out of the way. There is a way forward that will be made very quickly for you here. If you feel like you keep running into walls, those walls are being removed. Just move forward when you realize the obstacles are out of the way. So that's pretty much the key phrase, is just move forward when you realize the obstacles are out of the way. Um, the weird thing that's showing up for me intuitively, which I don't think is going to be all of you, hopefully, and I would hope it would be none of us here. And but they're showing this thing where it's like maybe life gets really difficult, so some people just close their eyes, like, "Nah, nah, 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 I don't wanna see what's coming up," or something like that, or, "Don't wanna see what's right in front of me," but then, like, things are okay, but you're still maybe someone's still so closed off that they almost don't realize it because 'cause they're still stuck in the trauma of the past, or they're not allowing themselves to see, like, what's right in front of them or the path in front of them that could be the best path ever, or, the best path yet, or I'm trying to express this in the best ways possible that are accurate. Like the best path that could really light someone up or something like that. So what they're kind of saying is like, don't be that guy. Like, I'd keep your eyes open right now. I'd be willing to move forward when you see like, oh, there aren't any heavy obstacles right now, or there aren't any severe challenges if I go forward with this thing. And I thought there were, or something like that. Like, it's time to really pay attention and see what the universe is showing us. And the second a heavy obstacle is moved out of your way regarding something, I would go forward, is pretty much what I'm getting. Like, I would go. So hopefully that makes sense to you in your circumstances, or will sometime this week, as it goes forward and things happen, and, it'll kind of ping for you like, oh, yeah, that thing that came through, yeah. So just see what happens if you're not sure what's going on with this or any of these things, and it'll make sense in the future. So number 4, or anything else with number 3 before we move forward here? The other thing they're just adding in is like, just know you're not alone regarding anything you're going through. If something is like especially tough, like, there's probably somewhere, somehow, someone you can reach out to for help, and maybe they redirect you to someone else if they're not actually the person, or you can call this in or manifest it in if you feel like you're in dire straits. For some reason, I'm hearing the phrase like, there's always someone who can come help you, which is really interesting. So if you're really, really, really in dire straits, I'd consider asking for help. Next, number 4, they show me a Sea-Doo or a jet ski, and I think the non-branded term is personal watercraft, which doesn't sound as exciting. However, the message is like, of course, we kind of already mentioned it, but like, what lights you up? And they gave me the word fun. So, what do you need to give to yourself more so that you can be lit up more? You know, Living a lit up life could be a remedy for some of the things that may be plaguing some of you. I wouldn't necessarily paint it as a fix for like severe mental illness or anything like that. However, there might be some lulls you're going through, or some type of depression, or things like that, or just something else entirely. And living a life where you're more lit up could be the remedy that maybe even just literally moves your life in a better direction in general, because you're attracting better through being lit up. So I guess you could also ask, like, who do you tend to be drawn to, or who do you think people tend to be drawn to? Is it someone who is there's not really much light in their eyes, or they're kind of just dragging people down, or someone who's like really lit up, really on fire with life in a great way, uh, fun to be around, uplifting to be around, brings a great energy. And I do mean, like, literally, and, like, their energies are great, in addition to maybe the more mainstream term where people are like, "Oh, they have a great energy," but they just kinda have they're fun to be around. It's not the same thing. Um, but you know what I'm talking about here. Either way. So is probably gonna be the person who's lit up, unless there's there's some caveats, I guess, but, it's probably better to be the person who's lit up in most circumstances, of course, and that's probably more conducive to the life you'd like to live, as you being lit up, so I would keep that in mind as well here. So next, they show me a banana as well as the word smile. So one thing is, like, if you're not sure about, like, a choice or a big choice or something like that, like, it is okay to wait unless there's, like, a looming, like, critical deadline tomorrow or something like that. At that point, just try to get on the ball earlier next time, do your best. However, you don't have to force things if you're not sure about a choice right now, unless, yeah. So please take a second before making big choices, unless you already have the intuitive guidance or channel guidance on it. At that point, I mean, you probably know what to do, or you do know what to do. So pretty straightforward, honestly. It's just like, you don't have to rush things, or you don't have to make big choices before you feel like you know what's up. So number 6 here, this one's an interesting one. They give me the word loss as well as the phrase you will not lose forever. So you have a lot to gain, even if there's loss or has been loss. This isn't a message to fear. This is meant to be a reminder that you do have more for you than has been presented for you in your life so far, especially at least physically in your life so far. Your present and your past so far. You have so much more ahead. Even if you are older, there could be a lot of joy for you around the corner that lasts. Don't give up if you've been through loss. Keep trucking. Take care of yourself and give to yourself whatever it is you need. More is on the way, not more loss. More is in like having more, maybe even being more, your life being more joy, more peace. That's meant to be a positive. More is on the way. And they said that's the main message is that more in a positive way for you is on the way, more in your life, etc. So that's actually kind of it. I hope this helped resonate to whatever was for your highest good, and I will see you on another post right after we get to whatever they're trying to get me to say before I close this video out. So let me see what I guess the bonus message or the add on to all that is here. I would definitely expect a positive, uplifting energy in the near future, like next couple months, and you could consider it like an energy wave to surf and to make the most of. In the way you one of the ways you'd make the most of like a positive energy wave would be through indulging in it and like really allowing yourself to receive however that shows up for you, whether it's a lot more peace or a lot of abundance that comes your way and or a lot of cool things that happen for you. Allowing yourself to indulge, enjoy, and really, again, like receive it is one way to kind of gather momentum with that. But I'm just getting you're meant to have a positive energy lift around this time or just sometime in the future going forward from here in the next few months at least. And if you stuck around for the end, that's a message for you. Okay. But that's it. Okay. You take care.